Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday, the Leading Change episode this week with Stacey Taurah. Hey Stacey, welcome back.
Hi, you okay?
All is wonderful over here. And today we're going to talk about how to make things even more wonderful with, of course, our role as change agents. We are talking about change leadership, and we want to dive into one of those processes you were involved with and, walk us through how it went, but then highlight for us the tips, the tools, the tricks, the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Well, change is always very difficult. And I don't think that, sort of like as change agents and as an industry that we give enough credit to how difficult change can be and how people process change. So going through the Kübler-Ross like change curve, like always have that in the back of your mind with any change, whether it be transformational, whether it be individual, whether it be a team. And also as well, have a little look at different stages of change and being able to identify those behaviors. Like that's just as a little tip of things that when I've gone through this, when I originally went through change, like I didn't pay enough attention to that. So therefore I couldn't help individuals as much as what I needed to. So over the years, I've upped my skills in those areas. We actually use the change curve at home as well with my husband when he's changing his job or anything like that. And he's feeling sort of a little bit of imposter syndrome. We walk through the change curve and see where he's at. So with change, make sure that you pay attention and give it the time that it needs. But yeah, this story I'm going to talk about is to do with a new way of looking at team and team health and trying to gain some traction around it. And it was a tool that we were looking at. And the idea of the tool was to help with change. So what we wanted to understand with teams is to make sure that they were reflecting introspectively within their retrospectives. So quite often within retrospectives, it tends to be about the work or the tickets or the numbers. And it is very difficult to get into the feeling side of things. So I wanted to create an artifact that would help that. And it worked in a number of areas and it didn't work in some others. And that's absolutely fine. So moving through this sort of like process of change, I looked at how a number of different teams were running their retrospectives when it came to team health scores. And team health can be looked at as a number of different ways. We've got vanity metrics, we've got a number of different business metrics that get lumped into team health when they're not actually team health. And I created a subset of questions that sat around a number of core values that were to do with team cohesion, motivation, security, psychological safety, and being able to be set up for success within the team. And we've sort of fed them into a team health process. And that change of the team health caused quite a lot of people to be anxious.
So
because it was just
walk us through that. Like, how did that anxiety came out when? I imagine you
I received
the organization.
Emails.
Okay, so you announced it, and then people started sending emails. What kind of questions did you get?
So, it wasn't even out there. It was just, hey, I'm thinking of this concept. I want to try something. And it was like, oh, great, we've got another form to fill in. Oh, great, another reporting tool. And it was like, no, guys, come on. This is just something, use it if you want to. It's just, rather than you Googling team health questions, here's something that might suit our business a little bit more from trends that we've seen across teams. With being an Agile coach, we worked with a number of different teams. So we could extract and see those common behaviors, those softer skills that so often we don't pay attention to. Having to talk to people to get them to understand it's not a reporting tool. It's not going to be mandatory. You don't have to fill it in, but here is the tool in case you want to use it, and the anxiety that sort of came around that. And one of the things that helped the success of it in one area of the business was that I had a couple of trusted teams that I worked with and they trusted me. And I think that really helped, is that if there is going to be a change within an organization, is that somebody trusts you or a number of people trust you. And trust is really difficult to earn.
And it takes time.
100%. I've been working with these teams for over a year. I'd showcase my vulnerabilities. I wasn't brilliant at everything, but I would try and I would learn, and I was there with good intentions. So I got a couple of these teams to try it and give me honest, real-time feedback about what worked and what didn't work and how comfortable they felt. and also the overhead of like another thing to fill in. Not that they had to fill it in. It was completely up to them. It was there as a tool to use however they saw fit. But in another part of the business where I'd never been before, people didn't know how I worked. They didn't trust me. I hadn't been in there. I hadn't helped them. I hadn't shown them my skills. It didn't really take off in that area. So I do think, if you are looking at change, trust is really important. Getting in there, spending the time, making the effort is really worth it. To just come with a list of things and say, do this, this, and this.
And one thing that is very important is that it doesn't matter that you have good intentions. And this is very important because one might think, especially people who are new to the whole change and how it goes through organizations, we might think, and definitely I'm guilty of thinking that way, that, but this is Agile, people will love it, right? Like the other stuff was project management, everybody hates that, right? This is Agile, people will love it. And that's not true. And the reason why that is not true is that it's never about what is the topic of change, it's how change is brought into the conversation. So one example you gave is it worked well with the teams that already trusted me. And this is a very important aspect. A great tool for change agents is work with the people who trust you first. Like don't try to convince the skeptics. It's not going to work well,
no.
right? But you can work with the people who trust you and get them to start adopting it and taking advantage of it. And from then on, then you can build credit with others, right? Because they talk with 100%. Each other, right? And then it's, that works for you. Hey, let's try it out in our team, right? So that's actually a very important aspect. And you said this team's already trusted me. And that's one of the things that it may catch us off guard because we actually have to be building that trust all the time, right?
Oh God, yeah, we do. I mean, it's a massive... And trust as well. People just, there's arbitrary words that people throw around to us like, you should trust me. I wouldn't do this. And it's like, just because you said it doesn't mean that I do. You've got to be in the trenches. You've got to show them who you are. You've got to be, everybody to me is equal. Everyone's a person first. And you've got to be in the trenches with people. Like you've got to get rid of the view of hierarchy or importance or what you're doing is more important than me. It's not. We're all just trying to achieve a common goal. And that's why we're in teams. We all succeed together, or we all fail together, or we all learn together. We don't fail together, we learn together.
Indeed, very well said.
And that's what we're doing all the time. Like one of the things that I always try and make sure that I do is I'm self-reflective. If I wouldn't trust me, or if I don't even trust somebody else, why? What is it? And what can I utilize? And what can I tap into to be my most genuine self to help those people with that connection with me? So then I can help themselves. Even then, if they didn't adopt this tool, well, that's absolutely fine for me because it's designed to help you. And if it doesn't help you, well, then I need to go and learn and I need to go look at something else. Just because I've done it and you trust me doesn't also mean that you have to do it. It just means that you're at least there to help understand whether it is going to work.
And by being there, we can work on that trust every day. And that was the thing that I wanted to highlight from this story is that as change agents, so Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, we need to understand that trust is something we use in order to achieve goals like, for example, to foster the change that we think is necessary. And trust is something that you keep on working at. Like you prove to people that you want the best for them every day, and then they trust you. So it's not enough to prove, now that we need to change, let's gain trust. No, you have to do that every day. It has to be part of that. Like what you said, right? Like it's a self-reflection topic. What did I do to gain trust from my colleagues today? Right? It's a very important self-reflection question. Thank you for sharing all of this with us, Stacey.
Not a problem.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role. We'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.